Call somebody tonight on that pit road. It could cost them an opportunity to go to Homestead.
If you have a problem, go the other way with it.
Yes, so much on the line tonight and so many twists and turns along the way in this one. If you're looking for excitement and playoff drama, last week's race in Texas certainly delivered.
The Lone Star State, it's the perfect place for a big race. This is Texas Motor Speedway. No limits on speed. Some of the fastest races in series history and more of the same expected tonight.
Green, green, green. Johnny Sauter was right on the 18 truck with Noah Gregson, got him loose. Johnny pushed up, and look at the door. It opened for Justin Haley. He fires through there.
I really like the way that 24 truck looks early on here.
Sauter definitely got issues in that 21.
Boys, might be a tire going down.
He's got a flat right front tire, he believes. Going to be surprised to see Johnny Sauter on pit road right now.
Trouble for David Gilliland. He'll drive across right in front of Grant Enfinger.
And right in front of Johnny Sauter goes the 9 of Cody Robaugh around.
Oh, truck's turning sideways. Two trucks hard into the wall here in turn number 4.
Noah Gregson got sideswiped there. I believe that's Johnny Sauter that was in the mix. Todd Gilliland just wants to make sure that there are no mistakes.
Haley has closed the gap further still. Gilliland may be slowing.
Then out of gas.
Trouble for your leader now. Justin Haley getting by your leader. Todd Gilliland falling back as Justin Haley takes the lead in turn 4. Let's go to Homestead, baby.
Just like in Canada, Justin Haley's going to benefit and win at Texas. Unbelievable.
Oh, man, I love you guys so much. We're going to Miami.
So all the excitement in Texas gave us this playoffs leaderboard. Johnny Sauter and Justin Haley, they are in the championship 4. Right now, Brett Moffitt, Noah Gregson are to the good. Grant Enfinger and Matt Crafton are on the bad side of the bubble. So Justin Haley benefited this time with a spot in the championship 4. But again, Todd, it was a tough heartbreak for Todd Gilliland.
My heart goes out for that poor kid. Second time, he should have won a race. He got taken out by his teammate the first time, and at Texas, out of his own control, runs out of gas. I mean, we saw when he got out of his truck how heartbroken. First, he was upset and mad, and then you saw the disappointment and anger that he ran out of fuel winning the race. But there he was. Justin Haley, for the second time, is the lucky recipient of Todd's bad luck.
You know, wait a minute. I agree he was in the right position. It wasn't all luck. When you start looking at the number, guys, the playoffs, he has a 3.0 average in round 8 as well as round 6. He has been on fire. He's had, out of the 5 races, he's had 4 top 5 finishes, and the other one was a 6th place finish. He's good. I mean, he is an opportunistic kid who's been doing what you've been bragging about doing all year long. Put yourself in position to score points, and guess what? The wins came with it.
Yep, so often the fastest truck does not win these races. It just goes to show you how difficult they are to actually win. Now, still to come, in a garage full of multi-truck teams, one team is hoping to be this year's Cinderella story.
I didn't even know if we were going to make it past the first 4 races of the season. Getting that win in Atlanta was huge. It really lit a fire under the Satori Racing team.
And the trucks have been coming to Phoenix every year since the series started, but things look a little different this year. We'll introduce you to the new ISM Raceway when race day returns. But first, we want to take some time this Veterans Day to say thank you.
Thank you to all the men and women who have served and are currently serving our country so that we can do what we love.
Just thank you all the men and women who have gave us the freedom to do what we do.
I just wanted to say a big thank you to all the veterans out there who have served and who are serving.
We wouldn't do what we were able to do without you guys. So I want to say a big thank you, and we're thinking about you.
I thank you for everything you've done, all the sacrifices that you and your families have made so that all of us can be free here in America. Greatest country on earth.
With 4 wins this season, Brett Moffitt and his Hattori Racing team aren't exactly an underdog in the championship battle, but this small team with limited funding packs a little extra incentive to go out and win the title.
It'd be huge for our group. We only have 7 or 8 people on our race team at Hattori Racing, and everyone's very passionate, and I'm part of that. I didn't even know if we were going to make it past the first 4 races of the season.
Bringing it to the line, Brett Moffitt
huge. It really lit a fire under this Hattori Racing team.
And Moffitt has done it in front of the hometown fans. Brett Moffitt is going to win. He's done it again.
Yeah, baby, that's the timing right there.
To be able to get a truck championship would be huge for our race team and huge for myself and a big step in my career.
Yeah, it certainly would be huge. But, guys, if this plays out for Moffitt, what a story it would be.
Oh, incredible story. You know, these guys don't even have close to the budget that the big three have. And it just shows you, they got 8 guys working on these trucks, and you go out with 8 quality people that work hard, you can accomplish a lot. And that's what this team is all about, hard work and getting the job done.
Way I look at it, they go toe-to-toe with KBM and Johnny Sauter, and he beats them back. I mean, it doesn't matter. He is fearless. I think one of the best things about it is if he gets himself on into Homestead, the pressure is going to be totally off this team because they have withstood the pressure all year long.
Let's give some credit to their leader, too. Scotty Zipadelli has done a great job with a little bit of work.
And it shows you how far hard work can go in this sport, because they still do legitimately have a shot at this thing. Now, one driver who needs a little luck to move on to the championship 4 is Grant Enfinger. Justin Haley's win in Texas bumped Enfinger out of the top 4, meaning he all but needs a win tonight. A little earlier today, he spoke with Hermie Sadler.
Well, Grant, your team sure has some downs in this playoffs, including running out of gas at Texas last week. But how have you guys been able to kind of put all that behind you and prepare for what needs to take place tonight?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's a lot simpler this weekend. All we need to do is win. So we got a pretty decent Ford F-150 with us here today. We've struggled a little bit with just sheer speed, but I think it's driving good. I feel like we can make passes and all. It seems to be a little bit better than other guys around us. So I think we're going to race good, but not starting as far forward as we'd like to.
You've only got one start at this racetrack, so knowing what you do about this track, you start 12th. Where will you need to be really good at tonight to make passes and make your way to the front?
You know, really, I think down there in 3 and 4 is going to be really crucial, because that's really the slowest part of the track, and then you carry that speed all the way down there into turn 1. So I think that's where we're going to focus on, and that's where I spent a lot of practice working on.
Well, they start 12th tonight, but as he said, very simple task tonight. Win is all the 98 is thinking about.
Yeah, Hermie, it is simple, but also so much more difficult to actually do. At least Grant knows his situation, and he knows what he has to do.
Yeah, you know, he's got a lot of confidence. You heard it in his voice. He thinks he's got a truck that he can work with, making passes. But the one thing that I'm a little concerned with is his lack of experience at this racetrack. He ran this race last year, but he finished 24th, so it wasn't real quality experience in a fast truck, and that makes a huge difference. I remember the first time I came to Phoenix, learning to get around this track and learning where to make passes made it difficult if you didn't have a good truck.
Yeah, and to that point, starting deep in the field, he wants to get up there and do what he needs to do, which put pressure on everybody and get up there where he can challenge for the win. He's going to have to push some people around, and that could get him in trouble.
Yeah, and that limited experience, guess what? We now changed it on you, too.
Exactly
so
right.
It gets even more interesting. Now, coming up on NASCAR Race Day, we'll take a look at the improvements made to ISM Raceway and see how the new track layout will affect tonight's race.
You're watching NASCAR Race Day, only on FS1.
Just want to say happy Veterans Day and thanks to all our veterans in active military.
Just want to say happy Veterans Day to everybody, and thank you for all the sacrifice that you and your families have made.
I want to give a big thanks and shout out to all of our vets out there who have served this country before, people who are still serving right now, people who will serve in the future.
I just really appreciate you guys. You guys do so much for our country. You guys afford us the opportunity to race, and for that, I'm indebted to you.
Just want to thank all you veterans out there for all you've done for us and all you've done for the country and all your service. Thanks, guys.
And for everyone at Fox Sports, we want to say thank you as well on this Veterans Day weekend, and welcome back to Race Day. NASCAR's been coming to ISM Raceway for 40 years, but the track looks a little different this time around. Following the NASCAR weekend in March of this year, the track immediately went to work tearing up the infield. They'd already begun building new grandstands, but this weekend is the debut of the brand new infield. This includes garage access for fans, a new media center, redesigned pit road, a new pedestrian tunnel, drivers meeting area, and victory lane. But the biggest change will be noticed on the track. The start-finish line has been moved to what used to be turn 2. So, gentlemen, how will this affect the racing that we see tonight?
Well, moving the start-finish line, I think, is probably the biggest thing because it's going to affect the start of the race naturally. But the big thing is the restarts. You know, we're used to watching these go into what is now turn one, that long, flat corner, single truck wide. They can't go in there too wide. It's hard. So on these restarts, to watch these guys go in there, it's going to be a lot of fun and real interesting. But also, that inside wall we see right there on the front straightaway, that used to be way further towards the infield. And we saw last year a couple of times right here, they'll go 6 wide going across there. They're not going to be able to do that this year. I think if we see them 3 wide, we'll be lucky. Maybe 4 wide if they squeeze it, but that's going to change the whole outlook of this race.
Yeah, he's talking about what's on the track. I'm more worried about what's on pit road. And when they redesign this thing, these guys are going to be the first race teams to experience what it's like on this tight pit road. And what I mean by that, they've moved it, just kind of slid it around. A lot of the pit boxes are in the middle, basically in the turn. So even though the pit boxes are 7 foot longer than what they were a year ago, this pit road is still 400 foot longer than the old one. So if you make a mistake on pit road and have to do a pass through or come back down, that's going to get you in trouble. And I really believe there's going to be some issues on pit road because of the way the configuration is.
Now, one thing that hasn't changed, though, is on this racetrack, any race can go by in a real hurry. So it's very important where you start. With that in mind, let's take a look at the starting grid. You see your playoff drivers are in yellow, and they're well represented up front.
How about Derek Kraus in his series debut for truck owner Bill McAnally, qualified in the 8th position. He spun out in the first round, got a second set of tires, and made great use of them, qualifying 8th.
Yeah, on the second page, I'm taking a look at Riley Herbst in that 54 truck. With Kevin Bonomania as a crew chief, I look for these guys to be coming to the front. He's been basically astounding pretty much everybody when he shows up at the racetrack, and I'm talking about Riley.
Yeah. So, Jeff, we basically have 2 different agendas tonight for these drivers in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I look at it like this. You got some guys are going to be playing offense and some guys playing defense. And offensively, it's got to be Crafton and Enfinger. They've got to put the pressure on those other 2 guys. If they want to get up there and have an opportunity of getting around Moffitt and Gregson, they're going to have to put the pressure on them. And that's what's going to make the key difference, I think, in tonight's race.
Yeah, if they're on defense, I think you got to look at Gregson and Moffitt as the offensive guys. They got to race each other. They got to make sure that they stay in front of the other guy because they're so close in points. And if Crafton or Enfinger win this race, one of those 2 is going to get in on points. So they got to race each other for points and make sure that they beat the other guy.
No,
so
right
basically, it's not just simply put out there, win and you're in, because we know we're guaranteed 1 driver in on points.
Well, when we're talking about points, I mean, let's take a look at Matt Crafton. Even though he's the deepest in the field, he has scored more stage points than anybody else. So if he gets out there tonight and gets up there and starts scoring stage points, it's going to make everybody else take notice. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
And also, once again, this is a very special Veterans Day weekend that we're going into. And Fox Sports Supports is proud to partner with the Mission Continues, a nonprofit organization deploying military veterans to build stronger communities across the nation by improving schools, parks, and fostering neighborhood development. Visit missioncontinues.org to learn more. And tonight's race will include the only military member racing in the NASCAR this weekend, Lieutenant Jesse the U.S. Naval Academy, and is a retired naval officer currently enrolled in the reserves. We want to thank Lieutenant Awuji for his service and wish him luck in his 2nd Truck Series start tonight. Welcome once again to Race Day for the Camping World Truck Series race from Phoenix, where Fox Sports continues to salute our heroic troops on this special Veterans Day weekend. There's a whole new look to this racetrack right now and a lot of excitement in the air. But Todd, you know what? This weekend is about a whole lot more.
Yeah, it is, John. I'd like to say thank you to all our veterans that serve in our country. My father and father-in-law both served our country, and Brother Jeff was in the National Guard, so thank you to everybody.
Yeah, I was with a bunch of veterans up at Richard's Coffee Shop earlier this week. All the veterans hanging out there, so if you get a chance to go up there, check them out.
So now let's go trackside for the opening ceremonies from Phoenix.
On this Veterans Day weekend, we would like to take a moment to recognize all active military and veterans. We ask that all of our race fans who are currently serving in the military or those who have served on behalf of this great country and their families to please rise. On behalf of all of us, we thank you and are honored for your service. Let's give these brave men and women a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Arizona DPS Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as former motor racing outreach chaplain to the NASCAR Cup Series and current Dean of Students and campus pastor at Grand Canyon University, Chaplain Tim Griffin offers our invocation.
Would you join me in prayer, please? Our God and Heavenly Father, on this Veterans Weekend, we want to first thank you for those who have served our country and protected our freedoms. We honor them tonight. Bless them, we ask. We also thank you for ISM and Lucas Oils for being sponsors and helping us put on a great event tonight. Father, we pray your blessings now on the drivers, the crews, the teams, the officials, all those who will participate in tonight's event. Keep them safe, we ask. For our great fans, bless them as they return home tonight. For we ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome United States Army veteran, retired firefighter, and award-winning gospel recording artist, James Rambo Smith.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, who'd brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
What a huge night it is in Phoenix. For 4 drivers, this is the last shot to win or point your way into the Championship 4. It's a new racetrack and a new day for some of these drivers, and that pressure is on. Let's now go to Vince Welch.
Thank you, John. It is indeed a beautiful night in the desert. The setting is perfect. ISM Raceway, and the time is now. One final chance to secure your spot in the Championship 4. Many are feeling the pressure, but not Justin Haley. His unlikely win last night at Texas guarantees the 19-year-old will race for the title next week at Homestead. Haley's chance comes at the expense of Todd Gilliland. A half lap short of gas last week cost him a victory. The rookie has redemption on his mind tonight. Just one thought on the mind of Las Vegas winner Grant Enfinger: win this race. Pointing his way to the Championship 4 is possible, but not preferred. And for Matt Crafton, now the only contender without a win this season, he considers only one option viable: Checkers, for a chance at a 3rd Truck Series title. For more on Crafton and his challenge, here's Hermie Sadler.
Well, Vince, for Matt Crafton, it's been 33 races. July of 2017 since the 88 car went to victory lane. If he wants to race for a championship next week, he will likely have to break that streak. The challenge, this racetrack has not been good to Matt Crafton. 17 starts, no wins, and 2 of the last 3 seasons, crashes have ended his night early. 2015 and right here in 2017. The 88 truck has speed at this racetrack, but just like this, he always seems to be wrong place, wrong time. Now, on the positive side of things, Crafton says, you know what, I don't like this situation, but I do like the fact that our mission is simple. I've got to find a way to win this race. Alan?
Hermie, Noah Gregson comes into this race 18 points above the cut line. That's good, but by no means certain. He needs a good run tonight. We know he's capable of that just by looking to last year. He was competing, he had a lot of speed, and he was battling toward the front when this wreck ended his race, and that was while battling for the lead with then teammate Christopher Bell. That is what he needs to avoid tonight. We know he's got speed. Noah Gregson on the pole tonight. What better way to guarantee your spot in Homestead than with a victory tonight, guys?
Well, and this is a place Kyle Busch Motorsports has dominated at times. 5 wins for KBM here at ISM Raceway. Good evening. Great to have you with us. Along with Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. We're excited because this is such a big race, such a big night. You've got Brett Moffitt, Noah Gregson, Grant Enfinger, Matt Crafton, 4 drivers fighting for 2 playoff spots still available for that championship 4 next week at Homestead. And Phil, history says you better start toward the front at this place. Why is it so important?
Well, Vince, we talk about track position, qualifying being so important about everywhere we go, but I'm telling you, I really mean it here at ISM Raceway. Last 16 races, you had to be in the top 10 to win this race, start in the top 10. 7 of the last 9 races here, you had to win from the top 3. That's how important qualifying is. But our guys tonight that have their work cut out for them, we've got a couple guys below the cut line. You see Grant Enfinger, he's 18 below the cut line. Matt Crafton, 23 below the cut line. As Hermie Sadler just told us, these guys can point their way in, but it's not likely. They're going to have to win this race. They have one thing in mind, that's to win this race. About stage points, they have to win this race. But where are they starting? You see Grant Enfinger, he's starting 12th. Outside that top 10, not far. Matt Crafton is inside that top 10 and 9th. These guys have the work cut out for them. They have a lot of fast trucks in front of them, Michael, but they're going to have to get to the end first.
You're talking about the competition, the other trucks, but what I'm worried about is this racetrack, because it can be really a heartbreaker. These guys are going to race so hard. This track is technically a short track, but it races with super speedway speeds. Just a couple of years ago, William Byron dominated this race, only to find heartbreak near the checkered. His engine blew. We saw the crashes that Hermie and Allen talked about. Just look at the carnage. You got to be hauling the mail to tear up a truck that bad. And when things go bad, it all trucks. So I'm worried about the competition, but I'm really worried about just surviving and putting myself in a position to go to Miami with a chance for a championship.
And we talk about, and justifiably so, the guys who are fighting for the championship. But if there's one of those others from the outside that are going to maybe steal a little spotlight tonight, who's it going to be?
I really like that 18-year-old Harrison Burton. He was fastest in both their He's had a lot of good long-run speed. He's my guy I'm going to pick to win.
Vince, it's going to happen tonight. It's going to be Stuart Friesen that finally gets the victory lane.
Are you kidding me? Really? I mean, 4 times a runner-up for Friesen, 3 this year. Would tonight really be the night? Let's find out.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal. Here on behalf of Lucas Oil Products, President of Lordco, Marilyn Coates.
Drivers, start your engines.
The trucks are ready. The trucks are fired. The drivers strapped in. They are ready to roll. Getting ready for more playoff action at ISM.
Now they're crashing. Matt Crafton pounds the outside safer barrier. It's an absolute junkyard.
Justin Haley's going to win at Texas. Unbelievable.
And locks himself into the championship race.
Grant Enfinger will win and move to the round of 6 in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series playoffs.
Couple of trucks tangle, and they get away with it.
Second is going to be Brett Moffitt. Brett Moffitt had a very good run.
And with this win, he will secure his spot in the championship 4. Johnny Sauter will get his 4th win at Martinsville. We are down to the final 2 races of 5 states. On an 88 of Matt Crafton.
What a great job, Matt Crafton has done.
The trucks are fired. The driver's strapped in and ready to go.
Trouble
up against the wall. Oh, heavy contact. Oh, there it goes.
Both of them into the wall. There's more trucks off the track than on it. They're together. They're together. There's the blocking.
Johnny Sauter is going to win at Phoenix. An opportunity to race for a championship on the line. A lot of candidates, but there will be just one winner tonight. ISM Raceway, the Lucas Oil 150. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, the final race in the round of 6. The playoffs are coming to an end. One more race after tonight. We have 2 of the 4 championship spots are full. We'll decide those other 2 championship contenders tonight, and we'll do it at one of the best racetracks in the land.
Yeah, let's take a look at our Camping World track description. Michael, you mentioned it. A very, very difficult racetrack. It's a short track, but races with super speedway speeds. You see turns 1 and 2 down there, 8 to 9 degrees, very flat, real round corner. Turns 3 and 4, a little bit tighter radius on the corner, banked a little bit more of the progressive banking, 10 to 11 degrees on the front stretch. By the way, that's where our start-finish line is, still in the corner, basically in turn number 2. That's going to provide some amazing restarts.
Let's look at the race analysis. You can see it's 150 lap for 150 miles, 3 stages, relatively short stages, 45, 45, and then 60 laps to the finish. You can run 75 or 80 laps depending on the caution flag situation before you have to come to pit road. I'm looking forward to seeing what strategy these crew chiefs use to try to get to victory lane tonight.
Johnny Sauter, the winner a year ago here at ISM. And as we look at the Lucas Oil starting grid, it's Noah Gragson on the pole for the 6th time this season, and Justin Haley with his best starting position of the year on the front row.
Yeah, 3-time winner, and it's his best starting spot up there in second.
There's Brett Moffitt and Ben Rhodes. A lot of talk in the garage area. Ben Rhodes has got a really fast truck.
How about Derek Krause's debut in the Truck Series? Qualifies 8th.
Grant Enfinger needs to win, many believe, to make that Final 4.
Sheldon Creed announcing he's going full-time truck racing next year.
Myatt Snyder trying to win the rookie battle. Leader right now.
Tanner Thorson, Austin Wayne Self back there in row 11. Stephen Parsons, your son in the race. Great to see him back in, Phil.
Thank you very much. Yeah, glad to have him here.
Dawson Cram, DJ Kennington, Jennifer Jo Cobb, and Jesse Awuchi making a second start of the season. Well, we run 23 races during the course of the Camping World Truck Series. This is race number 22. Going to get a couple of great looks from the onboard of Grant Enfinger.
Yeah, this is our Ford onboard. We're going to have a great view from this visor cam. This is the Protect the Harvest Curb Records Ford, and Grant will start from the 12th spot.
Let's hop up inside the top 5 and watch Brett Moffitt. He's going to be a busy man. He's going to shift gears in both ends of this racetrack all night long. His Kobe Toho Pit Toyota goes 5th.
From the front row, Gragson and Haley were green at ISM Raceway.
It didn't take long for these guys to fan out 4 and 5 wide, did it?
Side by side for second with Haley and the 51 of Harrison Burton. Burton has shown great speed throughout the course of the day. Led both practices this morning.
That's a tough spot to be in. You see Harrison Burton in the 51 down on the bottom. The truck really wants to slide sideways when you're inside another truck. He makes it through there just fine.
Brett Moffitt way down off. And by the way, it's completely legal here. You can go way below the yellow line. Use all the track you want or need, and we'll see it plenty tonight.
No out of bounds, and you see most of these guys are going to be down below the yellow line down there in turns 1 and 2.
Justin Haley finally gets that second place position from Harrison Burton. Side by side, there's Derek Krause in that 19 Napa truck. Boy, what a day he's had. His first time ever in a truck.
The only blemish, he spun out his first time out in qualifying. They put another set of tires on it, and he put it up in the top 10.
Listen to this engine. Hear him gear down there for that run off turn 2.
Look how he gains a little bit on Krause's truck.
Boy, gaggle back here. Look at that fight for position. Sheldon Creed in that 2 truck on the inside. There's Myatt Snyder in the 13. Johnny Sauter, last year's winner, back there as well. The 54 is Riley Herbst.
Phil, after racing here for 15, 20 years, anytime I see a truck on the inside of another, it makes me nervous because I know how difficult a task that is to hold on to that bottom truck. These guys are racing so hard, and we're just 3 laps into this baby.
Stuart Friesen in that blue and white 52. Mike, you think that tonight could be his night? What have you seen from him today that leads you to believe that?
Just the way the truck practiced. He was very consistent, and plus, he just always rises to the occasion, puts himself in a position to win, and just has fallen so close, so short, too many times for it not to happen soon.
Had another great opportunity last week at Texas. Was speeding on his green flag pit stop late in the race. Took him out of contention.
Matt Crafton trying to get Ben Rhodes. A couple of Thor Sport teammates battling for 6th and 7th. Right there behind them, the 8 truck of John Hunter Nemechek, who's been runner-up here 2 of the last 3 years.
Yeah, including last year.
Yeah, figure that Nemechek's going to be one you're going to have to deal with before the night's over.
You know, I've watched a lot of guys drive down way below the yellow line there as we go just past the start-finish line through the dog leg, and I don't see where they're gaining a whole lot by doing that.
The problem is merging. You get down to the end of the back straightaway, or the front straightaway, excuse me, you have to come from the bottom all the way up into the groove, and that's when contact usually happens.
Justin Haley in that 24 truck running second to Noah Gragson. Of course, Haley last week was running second on the last lap at Texas, sure to be a runner-up finisher, but the leader at that time, Todd Gilliland, ran out of gas halfway around on the very last lap. They thought they were 2 laps to the good. Did Gilliland.
You know, one thing I didn't see when we were looking at Justin Haley and Harrison Burton, I did not see Noah Gragson, because he's opened up over a 2.5-second lead in 7 laps.
And Phil, we've seen that all year long. A lot of speed from Gragson early in the races. He's had 6 poles. He's won the most stages, but he just hasn't been able to close consistently. And he's going to have to be able to close in order to win this championship.
It's Johnny Sauter in that 21 truck on the inside, and Sheldon Creed on the outside. A little bit of contact as they're back there in 20th and 21st, or excuse me, 16th and 17th.
That's a pretty good save right there by Sheldon Creed. He got way out of shape.
I think Johnny just misjudged it a little bit and tried to pull up in behind Creed, and those are teammates. Just think, you're going to race your teammate that way. How are you going to treat other people?
And we'll be teammates all next year. Sheldon Creed just announced earlier today that he will be full-time for GMS next year.
I think Burton in the 51 black truck there behind the 24 of Haley has a faster truck. If he could get around Haley, maybe he could do something with his teammate, Noah Gragson, who's leading this race.
You know, we talked throughout the course of the day about how impressive Harrison Burton has been. This is the first time in his young career he's had the chance to run 3 races in a row, and I think you're maybe seeing a little of that consistency develop as he's getting an opportunity more regularly.
It's hard to do it when you do it so sporadically. He's only raced, what, 6 times this year prior to tonight, throughout the entire course of the season.
They look like veterans already, though, don't they, Phil? Some of these teenagers. Oh, look at this.
3 wide. Is this going to work? Creed put in the middle of the sandwich between Sauter and Snyder.
Guys, watching Johnny Sauter battling well outside the top 10. I had a moment to talk to Joe Shear, the crew chief on this truck, before the race started. He said, you know what? You know, we're locked in, but we want to go to Miami with some momentum. We need to run up front, and we are struggling. And what makes it difficult, said Shear, he said, I just don't know why. If I knew why, I could deal with it better, but we have no reason really, you know, that shows that to us as to why we are struggling tonight. It's certainly not better at the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, they've been fighting a loose condition throughout the course of the day. We'll see if it gets any better as the night goes. No problems for that guy, Noah Gragson, in that 18 truck by almost 3.5 seconds under the lights in Phoenix. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, the Lucas Oil 150 from ISM Raceway. Noah Gragson has led them all so far here tonight. 17 laps in the books, and Gragson not just leading, but he's putting on a show, up by about 3.5, almost 4 seconds.
Yeah, he's actually caught some traffic now. These guys, he's putting a lap down. That's Landon Huffman, the gray number 38. There's Justin Fontaine, the 45 truck, right in front of Noah.
And Noah's just going to work right through these guys, but it has cost him a bit of his lead, about 0.5 second off that last time around.
They love this truck that Gregson's driving. They call it 38 Special. It's the same truck he drove at Kansas, where he won the pole, won the first and second stages, led the most laps, won the race. Just a terrific performance. Harrison Burton has moved into second. This happened while we were at commercial break. You saw Haley with a little bit of a handful, and that was all that Burton needed. Dives down and eventually will make the move and the pass, securing second place.
Yeah, Michael, you mentioned that you thought that the 51 truck was a little bit faster right than Haley, and now he's opened up about 1.5 seconds over him. As a matter of fact, Brett Moffitt now has taken over the 3rd spot from Haley.
There you see Moffitt in that black truck. Listen to this. He's going to do that all night long.
I love it because it's going to give him good speed at the end of a run. As the tires wear out, I think he can use that lower gear to get up off the corner and gain on these guys.
He's on the move now, Michael. He said for about the first 10 to 12 laps, the truck was too loose. He could not be aggressive with it. But the last report from Brett on the radio is starting to come to me now. He is starting to make headway towards the leaders.
Well, and Moffitt has really had a nice couple of weeks back-to-back. Finished second at Martinsville and third at Texas. He's won 4 times this season.
Phil, you have any concern for these guys going off the front straightaway and sparking, dragging that splitter, dragging that nose? If they do that repeatedly, it could cost them some downforce in the front.
You know, I was talking to Rudy Fugle about that, and we're talking about restarts and everybody fanning out. He said, it does damage to that truck when you do that. So you better pick and choose your spots, because you don't want to do that every single lap, because it will, as you mentioned, it'll scrape off the splitter. Also, the exhaust pipes will hit.
The 98 of Grant Enfinger running 13th. Alan?
Not much from Enfinger on the radio. The team telling him they don't see any glow in his brakes, which is a positive, but he continues to run 13th. He needs more out of that truck. They have to find some speed. They came into this race 18 points out of transferring to the championship 4. They have to make that up quick and contend for this victory.
Well, they've had some problems at Martinsville. The first race in this round got spun late in the race, ended up 14th, and then ran out of gas late in the race at Texas, and that cost them 9 or 10 positions. So it has been a difficult round for the 98 team of Enfinger, and it's what he told me. He said, we have got to finish the job tonight. They haven't been able to do that the last 2 weeks.
And I think right now, because him running 13th, obviously no points back there in the stage points, and the 2 guys that are above the cut line that they're racing against, Gregson and Moffitt, running 1st and 3rd. So I think Jeff Hensley is going to have to change his game plan. He's going to have to be really fluid tonight, but staying out here to get stage points isn't going to do it for him.
Look at Brett Moffitt in that 16 truck. He has closed the gap on 2nd place Harrison Burton, and as Hermie reported, that 16 is starting to come to Moffitt.
Look at that. So violent when he dives off the racetrack. Made some good ground there, but wasn't able to close the deal.
Jordan Anderson squeezing Moffitt a little bit on the outside.
Heck, between turns 1 and 2 in the front straightaway, they spend more time off the track than they're on it.
Noah Gregson said he wanted to go to full offense tonight. No defense for Gregson. Put it on the floor and go, and that's exactly what he's done. He's led all 26 here in stage 1. Back at ISM Raceway, trouble for the 4 truck of Todd Gilliland, involved in an incident with the 17 of Tyler Ankrum. Ankrum, there you see, clipped the 33 of Jason White, and that led to some contact. Now watch Ankrum cut the dog leg, and then he'll clip, just barely clip the 33 as he passes.
Just misjudged it a little bit. Jason White in a 33 truck was doing nothing wrong. He was right where he was supposed to be. Unfortunately, Tyler just misjudged it and just clipped him, and that slid him up into the 4.
Look how low.
Todd Gilliland, really on pit road, basically the exit of pit road.
And he was just trying to fit into a space that wasn't quite there, and contact was made. And we talked about the speed and how fast things happen here. Would you couple that with going off the back straight or the front straightaway and then back up on? It's just difficult, Hermie.
They're calling for 2 right side tires on the 51. Truck starts off a little bit loose, comes to him later in the run. You see the 13 of Mike Snyder also on pit road. Alan?
Grant Enfinger just pulling off after a 4-tire stop. He was comfortable. He says he likes the way the truck is handling, but again, the speed is not there. Was running 13th on that run when he came in. They made a slight adjustment to make it a little better for some brake chatter he had, but 4 tires for Grant Enfinger, who needs some points right now to advance to Homestead.
Well, and Matt Crafton in that neon yellow 88, trying to do everything he can to come from outside the cut line to win this race.
Well, with Gregson and Moffitt running up front, he has no choice. He's got to try to mix things up and get the win. He was able to have great speed in the first 26 laps or so, but he needs track position, and they got it now, I think.
Restart from ISM when we return. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, the Lucas Oil 150 at ISM Raceway, getting ready to go back green on this restart. The top 5 stayed out. The first one to come to pit road is Harrison Burton, starting on the outside of row 3. Came in and got a couple of tires. It's Noah Gragson on the inside, Brett Moffitt outside, back racing. With 12 to go here in stage 1.
Wow. That's about all you can say, Phil. How are they going to make it? And they're not going to make it, it doesn't look like.
Look at Derek Kraus all the way up in the loose stuff next to the wall, but holds on to it.
And how about Brett Moffitt getting the best of Gragson on the restart, and Moffitt is in the front. Side by side, Justin Haley battling for 4th.
As good as that 18 truck of Gregson's was, I'm really curious. We knew Brett Moffitt had a great truck. He had made his way up into the 2nd or 3rd spot. I'm curious to see if Gragson can have the measure of Moffitt and maybe get back by him.
I'm turning into a big Derek Kraus fan. He ran out of the groove and held on, and now he's using that outside lane to make passes.
He was 3 lanes out of the groove, Michael.
There's Kraus, the 17-year-old in that 19 truck, making his first ever start in the Truck Series. He was top 10 in both practices today, qualified in the top 10. He's just done a terrific job.
Has the credentials, a 4-time winner this year in the K&N West Series for Bill McAnally.
Matt Crafton, I talked about track position. I think when this stage ends, he stays on the track and will gain the lead. Be interesting to watch and see how this plays out. You talked about the playbook. You got to change it up when you're racing for a championship, and that's what Junior Joyner and Matt Crafton decided to do here.
Justin Haley and John Hunter Nemechek side by side. Now Nemechek gets that position back from Haley. That's the 4th spot.
Harrison Burton, the 51 truck with 2 right side tires right behind them. And there's Matt Crafton. Pulls into the rear tailgate of the 51, looks to the inside of Harrison Burton.
Another truck with nothing to lose. Just they pitted as well so that they can take advantage of track position. They don't care about stage points. They just want to be up front.
Less than 10 to go in this first stage, and they go by quickly. Laps at about 27 seconds. Doesn't take long to get around this mile. Looks like the 19 of Kraus is pushing water.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. No damage to the front, it doesn't look like.
That's one of the Toyota engines. We have the Toyota engine in the 16 of Moffitt, a Toyota engine in the 19 of Kraus. They can get by running a little more temperature than the NT1s that most of the other competitors have.
Ben Rhodes pulling up alongside inside of the top 10. Watch the 41 of Rhodes and a little contact with the 46 of Eckes. Ooh. Back there, 10th and 11th.
And remember, that's happening at 120, 25 miles an hour up off the turn. These guys are doing a great job of racing hard, but hanging on to those trucks.
Kraus starting to fall back a little bit now as Eckes makes the move inside for position.
Depending on how hot that engine got, Phil, it'll lose some performance. It looks like he's losing a little bit of ground. That could be the case.
Christian Eckes in that 46 truck has done a nice job. Another one that's just a teenager, 17 years old, a couple of top 10s in 3 starts. And the one race in which he didn't get the top 10 was the one he ran the best.
Exactly, Gateway. How about Austin Hill, the 0-2, after coming off his best career finish at Texas last week, moves underneath Kraus. Looks like he might have that spot as he gets down to turn 1.
On board with Grant Enfinger. 5 to go here in stage 1.
Look how low he's running.
All 4 tires below the yellow line, Mike.
Racing against Sheldon Creed there for the 13th position. You can just see how aggressive these racers are. You can hear Grant downshift there. Look at the run he makes off the corner. They use that 3rd gear as a passing gear, and it's going to work for Enfinger.
You can see how violent it is when you leave the racetrack and re-enter the racetrack from on that onboard.
Contact. Creed and Enfinger exchanging a little paint, battling for position. That's for 13th.
Boy, Grant drove it down in that corner.
Now he'll probably grab 3rd to jet away from the 2 of Creed. Look at this battle.
Harrison Burton and Stuart Friesen. Boy, there are some good battles all over the track. Hard to get away from anybody on this mile. You're always around someone, and that makes it exciting for the fans, and certainly puts this championship battle into a, because you're never out of trouble no matter what position you happen to be running in.
How about our two guys above the cut line, Brett Moffitt, Noah Gragson, and where are they running in this first stage?
They're
first and second.
They're set on go tonight, and you can see Moffitt with a nice lead.
About a half a second advantage over Noah Gragson. Gragson led the first 32 tonight, and then Moffitt beat him on a restart following a caution. And Moffitt has been out front since.
Heck, I'd buy a ticket to watch this race just to see him come off the racetrack on the front straightaway. Bounce off the road and back up on it.
The final lap here in stage 1. Brett Moffitt holding on against Noah Gragson. Coming through turn 3 and 4. It's going to be Brett Moffitt striking first. Moffitt wins stage 1. Gragson, Friesen, Burton, and Nemechek rounding out the top 5. And the caution is out. So Brett Moffitt came into this race comfortable in points, but needed to avoid disaster. Back it up with a strong night. He's doing just that. Moffitt wins stage 1 at ISM. Hey, you think it's fun tonight? Wait till next week. Next Friday on FS1, our season concludes. The championship race at Homestead, Miami. Who's going to be crowned the next NASCAR Truck Series champion? All begins 7:30 Eastern right here on FS1. Of course, you can always check it out on the Fox Sports app. Here in the desert, just outside of downtown Phoenix at ISM Raceway, and it is a beautiful facility, a $178 million renovation, and they hit the nail on the head. This place is beautiful.
It sure is. And here's where the differing strategy is going to take place.
And a big pit road. They reconfigured the entire pit road, made the pit boxes a little bit bigger. Some big pit stops coming up here, Alan.
Guy Stuart Friesen was running great in the clean air, but the team wants to give him an adjustment that will help him drive back through the field. So they're giving him 4 tires and a half round down on the track bar, as well as an air adjustment to help him while he gets in traffic to get back through the field, guys. Hermie?
The 18 of Noah Gragson, they were talking about 4 tires, but they're going to have to back him up in the pit box. No way they can get to the left side on this pit stop. Big mistake for the 18, but his truck is too tight. We'll see if they end up coming back down pit road. You see a chassis and a track bar adjustment. The 16, 4 tires, his truck starts loose, gets tight at the end of the run. They're making their adjustments with air pressure.
Well, I think the 18 of Gragson actually hit that inside wall with his left front, and you saw him having to push him back just to get room to be able to change those left side tires.
Yeah, he just came in his pit box too fast, Vince, and you can see the black marks on the back of the truck, how he slid into the inside wall. Big mistake here for Gragson.
He was one of the drivers, as you can see him slide, and that splitter did get against the inside pit wall there. He is one of the guys that practice pit stops during our practice session. You can see the black marks. That's where he left pit road during pit stop practice.
So a struggle for Gragson on his first stop. And, you know, I mentioned big pit stops, and I know this is the first pit stop of the night, but at the same time, you don't get many options. Guys are going to stop a couple of times. You do not want to make a mistake when you get just 2 chances on pit road. And how about the 16 of Brett Moffitt, our race leader, speeding on pit road? Wow.
I'm sure he's got the word. Why don't we see if we can talk to Brett? Hey, Brett Moffitt, Phil Parsons, and the boys up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Phil.
Brett, we know you're busy in there. That thing's shifting every corner, but you've got an awfully fast race truck, but we just heard that they busted you for speeding.
Yeah, why you gotta be the bearer of bad news? We got a really good Kobe Toyota Tundra tonight. Yeah, it's a little more work than what's going on in the other cockpits, I'm sure, but we got speed, and we'll make our way back to the front, stay out of trouble, and try to get some more stage points here.
All right, buddy, got a great truck. Keep it going.
All right, they did say they confirmed.
You know, sometimes you draw the short straw. Sorry about that, Phil.
I'm sorry about that, Brett.
Stage 2 when we come back. Our 2 dominant trucks, Noah Gragson and Brett Moffitt, both with problems on their first pit stop of the night. Gragson overshot his pit box, long stop. Moffitt speeding on pit road. They're deeper in the pack, and as we restart and begin stage 2, it's Harrison Burton out front. Look at Matt Crafton challenging Justin Haley for second.
Our top 10 drivers pitted back on lap number 30. Look at 4 or 5 wide in the corner.
Got to grab positions, and the best place to do it's on a restart when everybody's bunched up. Stuart Friesen puts the 22 of Austin Wayne Self in the middle of a 3 wide. And look at Friesen continuing on. Gets side by side with Eckes now. Everybody off the track down in the dogleg.
Friesen is just so aggressive, and he's found a lane that no one's in, and he is really running low in the turns.
How about John Hunter Nemechek? He was at least 3 lanes below the yellow line over there in 1 and 2.
Friesen on.
Look at John Hunter, that black truck, dipping down through the dogleg below the 22 of Austin Wayne Self.
And there's the 98 of Enfinger trying to make his way back up through. Enfinger sits 10th. Gets by Eckes now, so move Enfinger into the 9th spot.
I think this racetrack just got wider, didn't it?
It's definitely fast also, Phil. The times they're running now are near what we qualified.
Look at those widgets there on the left-hand side of the screen alongside of the pylon. If you're in green, like Haley and Sauter, you know you've already clinched a spot in the Championship 4 next week. If you're in yellow, you're currently in on points. But if you're in red, Enfinger and Crafton, you're on the outside looking in. But it is tightening up. Look at those points. And all of a sudden, Moffitt and Gregson, who looked so strong early in the race, now maybe a little bit more nervous as they're less than 10 points above the cut line as we ride with Brett Moffitt.
I think they have to be a little bit nervous, but that's because of the track position, because they stayed out to get to the end of the first stage to get those stage points. If they can work their way back up into the top 10, back up into the top 5, remember, every position they gain is going to be another point.
And I think this track widening out, like you talked, Phil, helps these guys that got caught speeding and having troubles on pit road because they're able to go down lower than the rest of the competition and make moves.
The early laps of stage 2. How about these two?
They don't
Stuart Friesen and Johnny Sauter like a couple of magnets.
They don't always tend to get along. There's been contact between those two.
And oh, by the way, they're teammates, guys. Look at Stuart Friesen. He's able to make the pass on Johnny Sauter to take over that 5th spot.
Friesen really has some speed up underneath him here tonight. He has been moving through the field and making passes with ease.
He's just so fast when they throw the green flag. I think practice, you can't really go off how he practices, because when you put race trucks out there with him, he just is able to get more out of his than most.
And he's not a young guy. He's 35 years old, but as far as experience in these type of vehicles, he's very much close to a rookie. Last year was really his first year. Didn't even run full-time last year. And, man, has he come to play this year.
That's Ben Rhodes up ahead of him.
Ben Rhodes has had one of the fastest trucks all day long here. A lot of talk in the garage here was that Ben Rhodes was one of the best 2 or 3, 4 trucks here.
Let's see how low Friesen goes. Can he get below Rhodes? You can see he does. He's able to stick well on the bottom of the racetrack.
Justin Haley up ahead of these two. 3, 4, and 5. The 98 of Grant Enfinger has moved into the top 10. He is 9th. Move it, make it 8th.
And that's the best he's run all night. Remember, he came in for a second pit stop. He pitted after that first caution, but then they pitted again. It was a late call from crew chief Jeff Hensley to come down a second time after the stage caution. They didn't put any tires on it. They just made an adjustment, and it seems to be working, Hermie.
Hey guys, want to go back and update the 88. Remember that when the 88 was on pit road and there was a discussion between Junior Joyner and the NASCAR official. What Joyner was upset about was the fact that they slowed down coming down pit road from the 6th position as to not pass the pace car. They did not want to pass the pace car. The rule has now been clarified to Junior Joyner. They have told the 88 when you come down pit road, the radius is much smaller on pit road than it is on the racetrack. As long as you do not speed on pit road, you can pass the pace car. So he was upset that they slowed down and gave up some valuable time on pit road.
Well, important that rule is clarified because you can't afford to give up time on pit road.
Yeah, exactly. But you also can't come down pit road, pass a pace car, and then go back out on the racetrack. You cannot gain a lap on your competitors. But if you're pitting past the start-finish line is what they're saying, that you can actually pass the pace car as you get to your pit, which is past the start-finish line.
Yeah, good info, Hermie. That's Harrison Burton out front in the 51. You know, he led 30 laps at Iowa. Those were the only laps he'd led in his career prior to tonight. Coming back. ISM Raceway. It's the Lucas Oil 150. One of the changes they made in this $178 million renovation here at the racetrack, they moved the start-finish line from would have been on the right side of the track as you look at it now over to the left side of the track. You see that green light there is right there. Well done, Michael. That is the new start finish line, and man, has it changed. Hasn't changed the actual surface of the track, but it seems like it's changed the dynamic of the racing.
I came here in 1988 for the first NASCAR race here, and if you told me this place would look like this today, I wouldn't be able to believe it. They've got a cactus at the start-finish line.
And it lights up.
It's beautiful green, and we're green flag racing.
I couldn't believe it when we drove over the bridge on Avondale Road and saw this amazing Coliseum in the distance. It looked tremendous.
What about Matt Crafton? He is closing.
What a great battle between Noah Gragson and Brett Moffitt. They are fighting just for 9th place as we got a little radio from Noah Gregson's camp.
No one's been trying to work the diamond like they typically do here. Everybody's just been playing with that apron, straddling, trying to get their stuff right down there. No one's doing the diamond. I'll let you know if I see it as it goes on.
The diamond means, Vince, when you dive in the corner and slide up in the middle of the turn to get a better angle on exit. And I'm liking the information from the spotter to Noah. I haven't seen that either. In fact, quite the opposite, as we've watched them down in turns 1 and 2 run completely on the bottom of the racetrack, out of the groove, underneath the yellow line.
Gragson and Moffitt have both spent a good amount of time at the front of the pack tonight. Gragson led 32 laps. Moffitt has led 17. The 33 of Jason White kind of held up the 18 of Gragson there.
And you can see the experience of Brett Moffitt. He let off early there because he knew he was going to be in a bind when they got to the corner with 3 wide.
And gave Noah plenty of room.
Wisely gave Noah plenty of room.
Grant Enfinger. That's Johnny Sauter just ahead.
He's been set steady and solid tonight. We talked about an adjustment on pit road from the crew. Now he's heating up Johnny Sauter for the 6th position.
They have made that truck better for sure.
And you can hear no shifting from Enfinger. He just mats it in 4th gear and is still able to make the pass around Johnny Sauter.
Well, and steady has been his MO throughout the course of this season. So consistent inside the top 10. Of course, got the big win at Las Vegas.
I would say, Vince, the first half of the year steady was their MO, but the second half they've showed real speed, obviously with that big win in Vegas. But just week in and week out, they're faster than they used to be.
Gragson starting to heat up Moffitt, or excuse me, the other way around. Moffitt starting to heat up Gragson for 9th, now pulling side by side.
Stage points at stake here for these guys. It's a 2-point swing if Brett is able to get by Noah Gragson.
And there's a lot of racing left to go, Phil, and it's just going to get more intense. These guys will really start to rub and push each other harder than they have so far. And I don't even know if that's possible to say because the action has been so intense.
And both of them currently above the cut line.
Look at Brett Moffitt make the move underneath the 21 of Johnny Sauter. Brett is on the move for sure.
And look at Derek Krause back there in that yellow truck right behind Noah Gragson. He's moving in to try to make the pass on Gragson. This is an awesome debut for this kid and team. Bill McAnally Racing has bought a fast Napa truck.
Ty Joyner, the crew chief on that 19 truck, the younger brother of Junior Joyner, is the crew chief of Matt Crafton's 88 machine.
This kid is making a statement today, racing around Noah Gragson and Johnny Sauter.
Hey, and Moffitt is starting to gap Gragson a little bit, giving you an idea how good that 16 truck is.
Yeah, the pace is finally falling off a little bit. Now they're running the high 27s. The last lap, Harrison Burton, our leader, ran a 28 flat, and that's what they felt like they needed for the shifting to really come into play, and that may be why Brett Moffitt is headed towards the front.
And if that's the case, we could see the same from Matt Crafton. He has the ability to do that with that Ford engine under his hood. He can shift just like Moffitt is doing, and it'll be interesting to see if Matt begins to close as the tires get some laps on them.
And let's let everyone know that everyone is able to shift if they want to, but it's going to benefit an OEM, an original equipment manufacturer engine like the Ford or the Toyota in Moffitt and Crafton's trucks.
That's the front. Harrison Burton in that black 51 leading the way. Matt Crafton in the neon 88, neon yellow 88. trying to close the gap, about 0.6 of a second behind in second.
And you're looking at the fastest truck the last lap around this track. He ran a 27.68, nearly a half second faster than our leaders.
Michael, he's up 10 spots since the restart, and he is chasing down Matt Crafton right now. He came over the radio. His crew chief, Trip Bruce, said, "You're doing great in clean air." And Stuart Friesen came back on the radio and says, "We were doing great in dirty air," with kind of a laugh. They are feeling good on that team right now. We are used to seeing them perform this year. They just have to close a race out, still chasing that first career checkered flag on the 52.
Yeah, Alan, I said at the top, he's my guy. If one of our non-playoff racers can win, it's going to be Stuart Friesen. He's just been so good. And maybe tonight is the night.
Less than 10 to go here in stage 2. Some lap traffic there as Jordan Anderson in that 3 truck on the outside, and the leader, Harrison Burton, will go underneath him. And because of that traffic, Matt Crafton has closed on the bumper a little closer, a little tighter to that 51.
How big would it be for Matt Crafton to jump up there, get by Harrison Burton, and maybe win this stage?
I love the determination and the grit of Junior Joyner and Matt Crafton. That's a dynamic duo, and they've got their back up against the wall, and they know it. They need the victory, and man, he is running well.
And Michael got Vince, if we can run to the end of this stage without a caution flag, then that's going to take some of the strategy out of the window. Right now, if the caution flag were to come out, Matt Crafton has to stay on the racetrack to get stage points, but the guys that aren't considered with points, are worrying about points, will all come to pit road, and Matt Crafton will lose that track position. Right now, Junior Joyner and Matt Crafton say no caution till the end of this stage.
Yeah, it took Burton a little longer to get around Jordan Anderson than he would have liked, and Crafton cut that deficit in half from about 0.6 to 0.3. And Crafton is on the move, trying to narrow the gap and maybe get this stage win with 5 laps remaining in stage 2. Remember, Matt Crafton, the only one of our championship hopefuls who has not won a race this season. Hasn't won since last year at Eldora. But a 2-time series champ, and they've been getting better and better, getting closer and closer to victory lane. And they really believe that they could win this race tonight. Even though he's never won here at Phoenix in 17 starts, they really believed that this could be their night. And Crafton is showing that they are as strong as they hoped.
Yeah, I talked to Matt down in the garage area. He sometimes has a tendency to think maybe the truck's not going to be that great, or we need to make some changes. He was very confident in what he had and how he felt like they were going to perform tonight. He knew that strategy would come into play. Looks like Junior Joyner has played this perfectly. They're in position to win this stage and have a great shot at the win at the end.
Burton disposes of Myatt Snyder, puts him a lap down.
Snyder's been on quite a roll. Kind of surprising to see him off the pace tonight, getting lapped here.
Michael, he's had some engine trouble inside the truck, that being the 13 of Mike Snyder. He's reported the engine has shut off a couple times, running high on the water temperature. They're just trying to nurse it to the end of this stage and try to see if they come in, diagnose the problem, or cool it back down.
Yeah, Snyder led 35 laps last week at Texas, had terrific runs at Martinsville and Talladega, 2nd and 3rd there.
He's currently in the free pass position, so if Harrison Burton doesn't lap another truck, he'll get a chance to get back on the lead lap, maybe make an adjustment and get back in the game.
Pits are closed here in these final couple of laps of stage 2. Crafton looking for a little different line to maybe make a move on Harrison Burton if possible. Final lap now, 1 to go in the 2nd stage.
And we talk about this racetrack being relatively hard to pass on. Noah Gregson, who was so good in that first stage, has only made his way up to the 9th position. Brett Moffitt, who won stage 1, is only up to 7th.
Watch Crafton fired in on the high side. I think he tried that out last lap to see if there was anything there. He's going to give it a go again.
All over Harrison Burton for the stage 2 win, but Burton does it. Harrison Burton wins stage 2. Crafton, Friesen, Haley, and Rhodes, the top 5. It has been tight. It has been exciting. Just what you'd want at a championship battle at ISM Raceway. Two of the 3 stages complete here at ISM Raceway, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and Harrison Burton has earned the most points so far tonight. Of course, he's not in the championship mix, but it's important for guys like Brett Moffitt and Matt Crafton, Noah Gregson, Grant Enfinger. Final stage here tonight, 60 laps.
That means a sprint, Vince.
You see the 13 of Myatt Snyder, who Hermie had reported earlier was having some engine problems, and his truck actually lost all power and was just pushed down pit road.
Caught a break and got the free pass, but gave that away, and obviously big problems under the hood for the 13 team. I mentioned he's been on quite a row, some great runs lately for the young racer, and I know was looking forward to tonight, and just frustrating to have a mechanical gremlin bite you.
They're making a battery change as well.
Now it just becomes an issue of going out and getting some more experience, learning more.
Snyder and Gilliland, Todd Gilliland, also the two top candidates for Rookie of the Year. Gilliland also had some problems earlier tonight, had contact with Tyler Ankrum, and Gilliland is a lap down.
Yeah, he lost that lap in that spin, has not been able to get it back yet.
But Myatt Snyder, multiple laps down at this point.
There you can see the damage on the right rear of that Ford truck. Put a little tape on the puppy there.
Well, the pits will be open this time. Now remember, last pit stop we had Noah Gregson overshot his pit box, had a long stop. Brett Moffitt was penalized for speeding on pit road. This should be the last stop of the night for everybody, so you got to make sure you do not make a mistake here. It could cost you either the race win or maybe even a shot at winning a championship. Execute over the wall. That's what's key right now. Grant Enfinger is headed toward Alan Cavana.
And this is the best Grant Enfinger has run all night. They've been going back and forth on the radio whether they should do 2 tires or 4. We will see what they do. They want the track position. They may have to play a little bit of strategy here as they go for 4 tires, Hermie.
Harrison Burton likes his truck in turns 1 and 2. He is too tight in turns 3 and 4. They want to free that truck up a little bit, get it to roll the center. 4 tires in fuel for the 51. The 88 of Matt Crafton, he needs to be more aggressive on the throttle. They also hope to fix his truck with air pressure. 4 tires and fuel also for the 88.
It was a long stop, Hermie. They had some issues on the right front there. You can see a lot of the trucks exiting. The team had done a perfect job up to this point. And Phil, we talked at the top, you have to be perfect tonight. The race is too short to have mistakes. That was costly for Crafton. You can see he lost from the 2nd position all the way outside the top 5.
Well, everybody, for the most part, took 4 tires. John Hunter Nemechek went with 2, so he makes a big jump with 8 spots gained on pit road. Now let's talk with Matt Crafton.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a word here. Hey, Matt Crafton, it's Michael Waltrip and the boys in the Fox booth. Do you copy?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Wow, what a great performance in that 2nd stage. Put yourself in a position, a little bit of a rough stop there. How aggressive are you going to have to be to get back up front?
We got to use the horn and do whatever we got to do right now to get this track position back and go win this race.
Well, I love your attitude. I love the Hail Mary, too, at the end of that stage trying to get the win. Have fun. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Got to use the horn, and that's not the one that goes beep, beep. The final stage coming up.
Just want to say happy Veterans Day and thanks to all our veterans in active military.
Just want to say happy Veterans Day to everybody, and thank you for all the sacrifice that you and your families have made.
I want to give a big thanks and shout out to all of our vets out there who have served this country before, people who are still serving right now, people who will serve in the future.
I just really appreciate you guys. You guys do so much for our country. You guys afford us the opportunity to race, and for that, I'm indebted to you.
Just want to thank all you veterans out there for all you've done for us and all you've done for the country and all your service. Thanks, guys.
Fox Sports salutes, and certainly we salute the veterans. Veterans Day on Sunday, observed nationally on Monday, and seeing that American flag fly proudly here at ISM Raceway. Well, the 52 of Stuart Friesen, you saw him there way in the back. That's because he's been docked for speeding on pit road. Speeding, exiting, too fast exiting.
Came off pit road in the 3rd spot. Great position. Now he has no chance, Michael.
No, and he had one of the fastest trucks on the track. He's got to have to really be aggressive if he can get back up even inside the top 5. It's a really short final stage here at ISM Raceway.
Yeah, about 50 laps remaining here in this race as we get the final stage underway. John Hunter Nemechek out front. Grant Enfinger has moved into the second spot.
See Noah Gregson, the 18 inside of Justin Haley. He's able to put Haley away. Now he's going after his teammate, Harrison Burton, in the 51.
All those trucks diving through the dogleg, trying to gain a little bit of track position. Gregson moves into the third position. Harrison Burton, his teammate, in fourth. Justin Haley right there in fifth.
Remember the 8, John Hunter Nemechek, only 2 tires on that stop to get that track position.
Ben Rhodes challenging Brett Moffitt for 6th. Tyler Ankrum, Sheldon Creed back there. Matt Crafton in the Neon 88.
We haven't seen anybody. Ooh, a little bit of contact. That's Ankrum in the 17, Creed in the 2.
Couple of rookies.
Right in front of Matt Crafton.
The last thing Crafton wants to see is a couple of people crashing in front of him and end up getting caught up in that.
It's got to be frustrating for Matt. Put themselves in a perfect position at the end of that second stage, and now he's having to watch these teenagers run over each other. I'm sure it's got his attention.
Well, and he's back there because they had a slow pit stop, slow on their right front, and we talked about how critical it is to have good performance on pit road tonight. We've seen several mistakes, some from the contenders.
He has 3 drivers right in front of him that he really doesn't know much about. Sheldon Creed he's raced with as he gets sideways a couple of times, doesn't know anything about Derek Kraus.
But that was a great move by Crafton. He pulled it hard to the left when he saw that 2 truck sideways and was able to gain the spot. But he lost ground there in turn 4.
Like he just never got back to the throttle, it seemed like.
Watch Crafton squeeze down low just underneath Creed, who had a handful inside of Kraus.
Wow, that's it. Let me give you plenty of room.
I'm going to get as far away from that as possible.
Look at this action. Christian Eckes scrubbing along the side of Sheldon Creed. They make contact. Eckes is sideways. That opens the door on the bottom.
And the top.
Oh, these
Riley
guys.
Herbst grabbing a position.
Christian Eckes, Sheldon Creed raced a lot together in the ARCA Racing Series.
Where's Creed going?
25 of Tyler Dipple in there as well. 16th.
There's Todd Gillen after that spin earlier.
He's in the free pass position right now if he can catch a caution flag.
Out front is John Hunter Nemechek, but the fastest, or one of the fastest for sure, is that second place truck of Grant Enfinger, second quickest on track that lap.
And how impressed you've been with Enfinger. I mean, this team didn't have a great day today in practice, but this truck is right tonight. He gets up there, takes the lead, and drives off to victory. Then that puts the battle between Gregson and Brett Moffitt, a tight one for the last playoff spot in Miami.
We talk about practice during the day. It was almost 80 degrees when these guys were on the racetrack for their second practice. As it's cooled off, that 98 truck is coming to them.
How about if the 98 would happen to win this race? He would leapfrog over everybody and secure a spot in the Final Four, and then that would bring it to the next 2 guys in points, Moffitt and Gregson, and right now they're separated by 2 points.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, new life down here in the 98 pit, especially after that pit stop that gained them track position. Everyone hooting, hollering, having high fives, but you can see the system, how it works. Grant Enfinger's running as best as he has been all night, and he is still minus 24 right now. The difference that one position makes, guys, is everything.
You got that right.
Right behind him is Gregson. He's battled himself back into contention after that issue on pit road. And then Harrison Burton, who's been fast all day today, inside the top 5.
You wonder with the 2 tires on the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek, when will the older left side tires take effect? We've got 42 laps to go. At maybe 20 more laps, will they start losing some speed and allow Grant Enfinger, maybe Noah Gregson to get by them? Grant Enfinger right now, it's all over him.
Fastest truck on the track that time, the 98 of Enfinger, ran a 27:30 that lap.
And I would think that Grant Enfinger would need to get around John Hunter as quickly as he can and gap Noah Gregson, because we know the speed the 18 truck has had tonight. He just needs to gain that 1 spot and try to drive away.
Right now, Matt Crafton is back in the 10th position. I think that poor pit stop for Matt Crafton right now does not look very good for their playoff chances chances to continue.
Well, and once you get back in that traffic, it's so difficult because everyone, is running basically about the same speed. I mean, it's just too hard to get past other drivers in the mix of traffic.
And you get all that dirty air. We knew how good Matt Crafter's truck was at the end of that second stage, chasing down Harrison Burton, almost getting by Harrison Burton for the win. Now he's mired back in the 10th position, 5 seconds behind our leader.
Grant Enfinger running second. Looking at the leader, John Hunter Nemechek, just ahead of him, less than 0.2 of a second behind.
I like the move that I saw Matt Crafton try to put on the last lap, running high, coming to the stage finish. I'd like to see these guys search around a little bit. Maybe that's a place where Enfinger could gain some ground if he run up a little bit higher. Try some things, because it's urgent that he gets around our leader, John Hunter Nemechek.
Nemechek gambled on pit road when everybody else took 4. Nemechek took 2. That's what got him the track position out front. And he's no stranger to the front here at ISM, has been runner-up here a couple of times. In fact, 2 of the last 3 races, he has finished second here. Nemechek, a winner earlier this year at Martinsville. 37 laps to go in this race. We're going to go to commercial break, but you will not miss a lap. Going to keep on trucking from ISM.
In the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series playoffs, we know what it takes to win the championship. This. This.
Go.
And a whole lot of.
That's what I'm talking about! Yes!
Because to be champion,
Sauter and Moffitt side by side.
you've got to lay it all on the line.
Hey! Chuck Norris? Can you sound my Tacoma?
I'll be glad to.
From the fist of a legend rises a new action star. A hero who's there to save the day and the night. So fearless, so rugged, he's tough as Chuck.
You replaced me with a truck?
Toyota, let's go places.
In the NASCAR playoffs, the energy transforms everything.
The pack is flying apart!
An infield becomes the place to be.
Wrecking bad.
A spectator becomes a fan. An experience becomes unforgettable.
You lit the track on fire.
And a driver becomes a champion.
Right, the party in victory lane.
Be there as these drivers lay it all on the line.
Threading the needle.
Get your tickets to the NASCAR playoffs by visiting NASCAR.com/tickets.
Play for one another. That's it.
Drew Brees fuels the Saints
This is our time.
as their high-powered offense
Slings it. Touchdown.
takes on Andy Dalton and the Bengals.
What a throw.
Or Phillip Rivers leads the Chargers
Touchdown.
against the Raiders. It all starts with Fox NFL Kickoff, followed by Week 10, Sunday on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Back at ISM Raceway, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. The Lucas Oil 150, that's Brett Moffitt trying to get past Justin Haley. That would be for 5th, but it's an important position. Every time Brett Moffitt can gain a spot, that means he increases his points advantage over Noah Gragson, which would be huge if Grant Enfinger would happen to win this race, and it could come down to Gragson and Moffitt for the final playoff spot.
Enfinger all over the back of the 8.
For the lead.
John Hunter Nemechek for the lead. So you don't think there's enough incentive for Noah Gragson to get up here and get by the 98, whatever position the 98's running in? Because if the 98 wins this race, the points as of now that you just mentioned, that means the 18 does not make the finale at Homestead because he will fall just short of Brett Moffitt.
And Phil, right now, the 98 is a lot faster than the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek. Grant Enfinger just hasn't figured out the right move to get this lead, but he's got way more speed. He's been all over him, and racing down off the racetrack like that gives him options. And look, he's going to use that groove to pull up beside Nemechek.
Can Enfinger get the lead on Nemechek? Not this time. John Hunter Nemechek staying out front as they come up to the lap truck of Jordan Anderson.
Lost some momentum there to Nemechek, but again, Enfinger couldn't take advantage.
Wonder how long it'll be before Enfinger thinks maybe I just got to use the bumper a little bit to move Nemechek out of the way.
We're inside of 30 laps to go. He knows what's at stake here. Nobody has to tell Grant Enfinger what's at stake.
Well, you don't want to let, if you're Enfinger, you don't want to let Noah Gragson get up and end up passing you, because then that takes you potentially out of the mix of winning the race, because now you're behind Gragson.
Yeah, I think right now he needs to try to get by that 8 as quickly as he can and try to open up a gap, try to keep that 8 truck between himself and the 18 of Noah Gragson for as long as he can.
But Phil, I do feel like those 2 tires will go away sooner than the 4 that Enfinger has on his truck. So I think the speed of the 8 truck will continue to deteriorate, and that should allow Enfinger an opportunity.
You see up above, 28 laps remaining. John Hunter Nemechek out front of Grant Enfinger. Enfinger, by all accounts, needs to win this race to make it to Homestead as a championship contender. Right now, Johnny Sauter and Justin Haley have secured 2 of the 4 spots to run for the championship next week in Miami.
What about the job the 2 guys that were under the cut line have done tonight? Matt Crafton almost winning the 2nd stage, and now Grant Enfinger in position to win the race.
Enfinger closing up on Nemechek again. He's been right there several times, but just has not been able to make the pass.
He ran off the road there a little bit, Vince, and bobbled up the hill. You can get down below that yellow line in turns 1 and 2, but you have to stay up on the track in 3 and 4 because of the additional banking. You just can't run that low, and he bobbled under the line.
Down into turns 3 and 4, coming off 4. See the start-finish line there, the cactus all lit up in green. Love that, the start-finish line, the flag stand lit up.
This whole ISM Raceway is just incredible. The track, the racing we see is as good as it gets. And now the fans have everything they need to have a perfect night at the races.
25 to go. Enfinger still working on John Hunter Nemechek, trying to get that lead. I give credit to Nemechek. He's done a nice job on those 2 tires.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Vince. He's a young man, but he has a lot of experience. He's a multi-time winner here in the Truck Series. Now an Xfinity race winner, but look at Grant Enfinger all over him.
How about radio communication from John Hunter Nemechek's crew?
To go, I got to walk you through what's going on here. That 98 has to win this race. If he doesn't win the race, he doesn't make it in the playoffs. If he wins, he's in. So if he's up to your bumper here on the last lap, he's going to do whatever it takes to ship you out of the way. Just keep that in mind here.
John Hunter Nemechek loses it, and Enfinger has taken the lead. Is that where the 2 tires came in right there? I mean, did he just lose the grip?
Well, he just lost grip there.
You just have to know, Vince, that's how hard these guys are trying.
10-4, try to get rolling if you can. Left sides are up, right sides are down.
He might have had a right rear tire going down or something on that, but he was so fast.
But let me ask this. Did Enfinger...
1 and 2, and I just spun out.
Enfinger didn't really want the caution, though, did he? Because now he's got to restart with Gragson right next to him. He'd have rather made that pass and kept Nemechek between he and Noah Gragson.
That brings everybody else in it. They had a huge lead. Actually, not a big lead over Gragson, but a huge lead over everybody else.
That's probably going to do some damage to the right front suspension on that 8 truck. Could rub a sway bar arm in 2.
Yeah, out of contention anyway, though. You know, Stuart Friesen, we talked about his speeding penalty on his pit stop. He's only been able to make it up to the 10th position.
Matt Crafton, another truck that had a slow pit stop after coming in 2nd, and he finds himself back in 8th. This is just pushing it. He knows Enfinger's faster, trying all he can.
Yeah, those right side tires are up there. He was doing all he can do. He knew that he only had 2 tires. That was his opportunity to win. It was a great call to do it, and he came within 20-some laps of maybe pulling it off.
Look how close Enfinger was to getting caught up in that.
And Gragson.
And look who's... Just... I hope folks at home understand that every lap this could happen. This is how hard these guys are trying, especially Grant Enfinger pressuring Nemechek. And Enfinger's trying to win and go to Miami to win the championship. He's shown enough speed to be the champion the second half of the season. He just needs that opportunity.
Outside, keep coming.
What a job by Grant Enfinger, and a job by John Hunter Nemechek. He almost saved that truck.
Could have caught up Infinger and Gregson, and boy, how that would have changed the championship picture.
How about this restart? We're going to have 3 of our contenders to go to Homestead next week, running in the top 4 positions. Infinger, Gregson, and Moffitt, first, second, and fourth.
And then back in 8th position, Matt Crafton. And we know they're going to be 3, 4, 5. We've even seen 6 wide on this restart. That could open up an opportunity for Matt Crafton in this 88 truck to grab several spots on the restart.
He already said he's going to beat the horn.
Hey, look at Infinger now as the leader. All of a sudden now is into the yellow in regards to if he would win this race, he's in position to clinch a spot in the championship 4, and that would put Gregson on the outside of the cut line. Wow, it is going to be dramatic here in the final 20 laps. Alan.
And down here in the pits with Great Infinger's crew chief Jeff Hensley, you're leading this race. You have to win. What do you tell your driver?
I didn't hear what you said.
You're leading this race. You have to win. What do you tell your driver on this restart?
Just go as hard as we can. I mean, we've got ourselves in a good spot here thanks to the guys on pit road and made some pretty good adjustments, and we'll just see what happens. I mean, our Protect the Harvest F-150 has been steady. Track position means everything, and that's just what we got to do. Just got to stay out front.
They made the right adjustments, the right calls all night. Let's see if he can do on the restart, guys.
Yeah, Infinger would, of course, need to finish the job here and get that win to secure that final 4 spot.
You know, since we've talked about the reconfiguration of ISM Raceway, we've just talked about how fun the restarts were going to be and how exciting they were going to be. We did not oversell that. You sit back and watch what's getting ready to happen with a chance to go to Miami to race for a championship on the line. These guys are going to be all over each other.
We understand there's some fluid on the track, and there you see the cleanup.
And there's fluid on the track. This is just really, the plot's really thickening here.
I really want this entire racetrack.
Gonna have to run through that at some point, right?
I just love this, Vince. This is intense, awesome playoff NASCAR racing.
The cleanup underway. Do not miss the restart and the finish of this one. The championship on the line. Fans enjoying a little beverage, a little refreshment here at ISM Raceway. Lucas Oil 150 currently under red while they do some track cleanup. Gives us an opportunity to remind you that for the first time ever, NASCAR Race Hub presents the Fans' Choice Awards. Have you seen this? You get the chance to vote on your favorite moments from this season.
November is a great month on NASCAR Race Hub. We'll honor the winners of our Race Hub Fans' Choice Awards. On Monday, voting begins for the category Driver of the Year and runs all week long. Here are the nominees: Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex Jr. Your vote counts, so tune in to NASCAR Race Hub, weeknights 6 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1, to find out how to vote.
And the voting will continue all next week, so make sure you tune in to NASCAR Race Hub each night, 6 o'clock Eastern, to find out the daily category. And then the Race Hub Fans' Choice Awards will air later this month on FS1. And you see the red flag is out. The truck stopped on track as the cleanup continues. Oil has been placed down on the track, and that's the culprit. And look at that. That'll do it.
There's the rest of it.
Yep.
We've got a mess, Vince.
So Justin Haley will be wheeled back to the garage, but the good news for Haley is that he won last week at Texas, so he's not really too concerned. He's already got himself a spot in the championship 4. Noah Gregson will restart on the front row when we do go back green, and Hermes with his crew chief.
That's Rudy Fugle. You guys have battled back from a issue on pit road to come all the way back to the 2nd spot. So what do you anticipate we'll see on this next restart, and any kind of advice you can give a young driver like Noah here with about 20 to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit tighter than we want it to be. We just got to go do what we need to do. I think we've had the best truck. We put him in a good spot. He's on the front row now. So everybody on this team's done a great job. It's time for him to go show what he's got. And 19 laps around here is a long time. Last couple of years have shown you never know what's going to happen. And third, fourth, fifth place usually wins because the top couple wreck. So hopefully don't wreck. Hopefully we pass them and drive on, and it's easy. So, but I'm sure we'll put on a good show.
Rudy Fugle from the back of the pack all the way back up to 2nd with a shot to win, Vince.
Vincent, and that hasn't ever been easy here at ISM Raceway. The action is intense. We talked about at the beginning of the show how these guys run all over each other, and it's getting ready to be on here.
Grant Infinger will lead the way on this restart alongside of Noah Gregson. We'll talk about all the success that Kyle Busch Motorsports has had here at ISM Raceway, and they have led the most laps at ISM 7 times. 7 years they have led the most laps at this racetrack.
6 poles for Gregson, all those stage wins, so much speed, but Rudy Fugle says we got to close this baby today.
You see the last 7 races here. Last year should have won. Bell and Gregson dominated up front, but ended up tangling for the lead, and Johnny Sauter ended up winning. 2016, William Byron had the field covered, blew the motor. 2015, Eric Jones led more than 100 laps, but ended up tangling with Matt Crafton with 30 to go, didn't win. So the last 3 years, I mean, I know they feel like they should have won those races each time and didn't. So will something like that happen again tonight, or will Noah Gregson or maybe Harrison Burton be able to close the deal? Well, when we get this restart going, the 98 of Grant Infinger will be leading the way. Let's see if we can dial him up, Phil.
Let's do that. Hey, Grant Infinger, Phil Parsons and the boys up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, Phil.
Grant, you guys have done an amazing job. I talked to you and Jeff before the race, and you said we got to try something. You didn't maybe think you had the best truck, but you have a darn good truck right now, and you're really wheeling that thing. What do you got on this restart with Noah Gregson right there with you?
We're going to give it all we got, man. We're not going to go quietly, that's for sure. I feel like we got a Ford F-150 capable of winning this race. That's exactly what we intend to do.
How did you guys make that truck so much better from how you were maybe earlier today, even from really stage 1?
Honestly, it really hasn't been that bad. We just hadn't really had that sheer speed, but it seems like as other people were kind of abusing their tires and stuff, our balance has stayed pretty good. Now Hensley did make a good adjustment on that last pit stop. We are better now than we were, but man, the field's tight. It's really hard to pass, and we're in a really good spot right here.
Well, Grant, you've been fun to watch, bud. So let's finish it off.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That's pretty cool, dipping into the leader's truck there with just a handful of laps to go, racing for his playoff life.
Of course, the intensity is so high right now as Brett Moffitt will sit 4th, restart 4th. Gregson, Infinger restarting on the front row. Everybody trying to get to Miami Homestead Speedway next week as one of those drivers fighting for the championship. Only 4 will be eligible, and Johnny Sauter and Justin Haley have already secured their position.
Let's take 5. Can we open it up to 5 bets?
Heck, why not 6, Phil?
I'm good with 6.
They're all so deserving.
4 drivers battling for 2 remaining spots. Christopher Bell won the championship a year ago, but next Friday night, Homestead Miami Speedway. Here's how it all started. The 8 that began with Ben Rhodes and Stuart Friesen not making it out of the round of 8. And then here in the round of 6, we've got Johnny Sauter and Justin Haley securing their positions. Who's going to be those other 2?
I mean, Ben Rhodes and Stuart Friesen barely didn't make it out of the round of 8. What were they, 4 and 6 points out when we got to the end of that round?
It'll be exciting. Not done yet. 19 to go when we get this restart. Hey, cover your eyes. You're not going to want to see it. It could get ugly. Coming back for the finish. Thanks, Dave. Looking forward to that. And the championship wrapping up there in Pomona. And we are getting closer to putting a lid on this one as well. Finding out which drivers are going to be fighting for that title next week at Homestead, including maybe Brett Moffitt in that 16, Mike.
Yeah, Brett Moffitt. It's Michael Waltrip and the boys in the Fox booth. Do you copy?
Yeah, I got you, Michael.
Man, it's been a gritty performance. We've watched you shifting gears all night long. You fought back in contention. What are you thinking about this restart with all the speedy draw on the track?
Well, it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. We got a lot of playoff guys up here that all want to solidify that spot to Homestead. So we've had a really good Kobe Toyota Tundra, and we want to go get a win here tonight.
All right, buddy. Good luck. It's been fun to watch.
Thank you.
Well, we've heard from the driver. Now let's hear from the crew chief, Scott Zipadelli. A lot going on the pit box. You're in a tight battle with the 18, but if the 98 wins, that could change things. So what's your plan? What will simplify this job for you?
Win. Win, that's it.
You got the truck to do it?
We got the truck to do it. Brett's done an awesome job. The pit crew's done a great job. Our Toyota Tundra is really good. Our execution is what we came here for. We did it the first stage. Second stage was not so bad, but yeah, we're here to win the race, and then it'll all work out.
Vince?
Win the race. That's all. It takes care of itself.
Yeah. Yeah, and with, you know, we've talked a lot about the restarts with the new start-finish line over what used to be on the back straight, and now we're adding speedy drive to the equation as well. So
a lot of speedy drive.
We thought it was going to be crazy and intense. Well, it just got multiplied.
But, you know, this is exactly what everyone was talking about when they discussed the moving of the start-finish line, because now it puts the dogleg in play on the restarts. And we say, well, boy, wouldn't that be exciting, a late race restart? Well, here we are in that exact situation tonight with Infinger and Gregson restarting on the front row, and another championship contender in Brett Moffitt there on row 2.
And everything on the line, Vince. Everything is on the line, and it may be decided on this restart.
And the 98 of Grant Infinger, he'll be the one leading the way on this restart, Alan.
Yeah, mostly quiet on the radio during that red flag, but crew chief Jeff Hensley came over the radio and put everything in a great perspective. Listen.
Buddy, we'll put things in perspective here. We're about 8 minutes from Homestead right now.
Hard to put it any easier than that. 8 minutes between them and a shot at a title. Talking on the radio right now about which line to take, where to line up on this restart. Grant has liked the bottom throughout the night. His restarts have been good, but crew chief Jeff Hensley suggesting maybe he should take the top and clear in that first corner.
What do you think?
I just know that speedy drive's down in the bottom lane, so that could play into the decision, but I do not like putting 4 tires on the inside of me, because when you get to the corner, you could use those 4 tires and his 4 tires.
That'd be 8.
That'd be 8, and that usually works out better, but I'm telling you, they might be 8 minutes away from Homestead, but they're also one restart of their careers away from Homestead. Any one of our top contenders can win, and earlier Rudy Fugle said it best, usually the top 5 crash and somebody running outside of there gets the victory. That's still all in play.
And as we look at our 4 track facts, of course, we've been talking about that start-finish line and how it's been relocated, but the immersing the fans in the experience, I mean, that has kind of been the goal of this $178 million renovation, and really love the new suites, but the new infield experience with the garage access. The fans are just a couple of feet from those cup teams that are working, and it's just a phenomenal facility.
It is, but it's also for the competitors, and everybody here, it's a win-win for everybody.
Brand new victory lane, fans with an opportunity to be right there to participate and enjoy the celebration up close.
They're going to get champagne on them from there.
Well, getting ready for this restart, and when they come to get the green, there will be 14 laps remaining. Grant Infinger on the inside. He's chosen the inside lane. Noah Gregson will restart on the outside. Both championship contenders, and in row 2, Brett Moffitt, also a championship contender.
And it will be tempting to dive below that line before the start-finish line. The drivers cannot make a mistake here. Watch closely as they get the green flag.
Vince, tighten your belts right here, will you?
Yes, sir. They are tight. The green is out. Infinger and Gregson battling at ISM.
Middle.
Gregson gets the lead.
Infinger slid in the speedy drive, it looked like.
Moffitt coming up on the inside. Moffitt's got 3rd. He's right behind Infinger.
How about that 17 truck of Tyler Ankrum running 4th right now, trying to get to the outside of Moffitt? Not going to be able to do it this time.
But with Infinger losing that lead and that advantage on the restart, he's way below the cut line now. He has to win. But is he going to be able to catch Noah Gregson? Gregson already out to almost a 2nd lead.
We've talked about Noah Gregson having speed all year long, but not being able to finish the deal. Can he hold on?
The top 3 drivers, Gregson, Enfinger, Moffitt, all 3 that if they could get a win, they would guarantee their spot in a battle for the championship next week.
So Derek Kraus and the 17 of Ankrum get together. The 51 of Harrison Burton took advantage, may get by both of them.
Look at Stuart Friesen down on the bottom side trying to take advantage of that racing.
Wow, Burton into 4th, Friesen right there trying to make a move as well, but it's Ankrum holding that position with Derek Kraus right behind him. A couple of young guns, 3 of them in fact, with Burton, Ankrum, and Kraus, and then Friesen charging. But there's the leader, Noah Gregson, and he's starting to gap Grant Enfinger a little bit, almost a second and a half now.
What about Rudy Fugle? We put it in his hands. He's on the front row. Go show us what you got, Noah Gregson. Let's see what you have. And man, he is driving off.
And right now they hold their breath to hoping for no more caution flags and have to do it over again.
And as much as Brett Moffitt wants this position, he doesn't want to he wants to make sure he doesn't end up having contact with Enfinger and wrecking himself.
Don't even get close enough to get him loose.
Yeah, and he's tempted though to grab that spot. You can tell he's got a great truck, but I'm with you, Vince. I'm going to ride there until further notice.
Well, he's got to try to, as we go 3 wide once again with Friesen on the inside. What happens if something happens to Gregson late and he allows Enfinger to stay up in that spot and Enfinger goes out and wins the race?
And what happens if these 3 wreck, which they're trying to do, another restart? You want every spot you can get.
You saw that Camping World 10 to go. Well, we're inside of 10, and Noah Gregson leads, and this was a 3-wide battle between Friesen on the inside, Derek Kraus in the middle, and Tyler Ankrum in that 17 truck.
There's not a groove down there where Stuart Friesen is running, is there?
Friesen is a dirt racer. He finds grooves, he makes grooves, and he makes moves.
Matt Crafton is just behind that group. Crafton running in 9th. There he is in that neon yellow 88. Crafton has to win to advance, and right now it doesn't look like it's going to happen with 8 to go. Won't be a 3rd championship. Oh, caution is out. The 54 of Riley Herbst has gone around right in front of the start-finish line, and that has brought out the yellow, and it's going to bunch them up again, and Grant Enfinger is going to have another shot at Noah Gregson.
Vince, my palms are sweating like I'm at Talladega. I can't wait to watch this action, but it makes me so nervous. I know how hard these guys are trying. We saw John Hunter Nemechek leading the race, spun out. Just think about what all's at stake and how hard these guys are going to drive.
Our top 3 runners right now, if any one of those guys wins the race, they go to Homestead and race for a championship.
I think you got to go back, Mike, to the conversation we were just having a moment ago, especially with these 3 being right there and knowing how badly they want to win. Well, what if they have contact with one another and end up wrecking themselves? Then you wreck yourself out of a championship.
It may take all 3 of them out.
That's why my palms are sweating. That's why this is so intense. These guys know what's at stake, and they know what they have to do to get to Miami. Brett Moffitt can't take a chance on Noah Gregson winning, or he can't just assume that Enfinger won't.
Here's that restart where Gregson was able to get the advantage on Enfinger.
Without a doubt, Grant was down in the speedy dry, and he spun his tires.
Now does Noah Gregson start on the outside again? It worked that time.
Let's listen to the 98 on that restart.
You can hear him trying to manage the throttle. He wasn't just flat on the floorboard, but he still had a little bit of wheel spin.
He did a pretty good job managing that, but it did lose the lead.
What a horrible feeling that must have been for Grant, though, knowing that that 18 was getting the advantage on him.
Well, he did a big slide down into turn 1 also. Luckily, no one was on the outside of him, and he finally caught up with it, but he went into turn 1 out of control.
Yeah, there was a piece of debris right in front of the start-finish line. That has just been picked up.
Hopefully they'll give them 1 to go when they get around here this time. That'll give us 4 laps of racing if we don't go into overtime.
Under yellow because of the spin by Riley Herbst. At the time, Noah Gregson had a lead of about 1.5 seconds, and that's going to give Grant Enfinger and Brett Moffitt another opportunity to win this race. Well, it's been an interesting night. We had this caution was the first of the night when Ankrum grazed the 33 of Jason White and ended up collecting the 4 of Todd Gilliland in the process.
Okay, Ankrum right now up in the top 10 running in the 6th spot. Todd Gilliland just now got his lap back on this caution from that incident.
There have been some great battles tonight. Noah Gregson has led 42 laps. Brett Moffitt taking the lead from him there. He's led 17, and Moffitt won stage 1. In stage 2, Harrison Burton was the driver showing the way. Burton, in fact, has still led the most laps tonight. Burton's led 45 laps this evening.
And he had his hands full at the end of this stage with Matt Crafton. A very determined Matt Crafton goes to the high side to try to win the stage, but came up just a truck length short.
And Burton was the stage 2 winner. John Hunter Nemechek was out front on those 2 tires and lost the handle on it and turned it over to Grant Infinger. Infinger pressured him lap after lap after lap, and finally Nemechek lost it.
And a great job missing him as well as also Noah Gregson for missing John Hunter Nemechek.
So that took Nemechek out of the mix as far as potential winners are concerned. And then we had Riley Herbst spin just a few moments ago, and that has brought out this final caution. And it'll be Noah Gregson and Grant Infinger restarting on the front row. And here's a little communication, trying to decide what lane to choose for that 18 team.
I think there's a little momentum up top if I get the quick squirt, but I don't know, getting into 3 with him needing to win to get in, body slamming, your call.
It's just risky. Grant Infinger got beat on that last restart. He's going to be determined to get a better restart this time and put him in position to get down into turn 1 first. I think he almost has to take the outside, does Gregson, though, because he just made it work. Getting pinned down on the bottom, I don't think is a good idea, but Infinger is going to be very, very aggressive.
And remember, the inside of the racetrack is going to be cleaner now than it was for that initial restart just a few moments ago.
2 positions still available for the championship 4 at Homestead. Who's it going to be? When they take this green, there will be 3 laps remaining. 3 of the top 4 are championship hopefuls. Gregson on the outside, Infinger inside, green, 3 to go at ISM.
Looks like Gregson spun his tires a little bit. How about Moffitt on the inside? Look how good he is.
Brett Moffitt to the inside. It's 3 wide. Who's going to come out with the lead? Side by side, Gregson and Infinger with Moffitt inside. It's Moffitt. Brett Moffitt has gone to the front. Noah Gregson peeking inside. Infinger is there. Coming around. There will be 2 to go for Brett Moffitt.
If Moffitt can win this race, then Gregson will go in as well to Homestead.
Moffitt starting to gap Gregson a little bit. Infinger starting to drop back. Brett Moffitt trying to hold on, hoping that it stays green the rest of the way. Stuart Friesen below the line, trying to gain ground. Almost a half-second lead for Brett Moffitt now. Moffitt through 3 and coming to 4. Brett Moffitt takes the white flag. 1 lap remaining in the desert. Brett Moffitt is a 4-time winner this season, trying to punch his ticket to Homestead, Miami as a championship contender. A half a lap to go. Gregson's still on his tail. It's the final lap, and Brett Moffitt is coming through turn 3. The checkers will wave for Brett Moffitt. He's going to win at ISM Raceway.
Phoenix, buddy. Nice work, boys. Nice work, boys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody that came out today. Way to do it, guys. That's execution.
That's the way you punch your ticket. The knockout punch. Brett Moffitt with the phenomenal restart, going from the 2nd row to the lead and winning the race.
That's not the only time this year we've seen him do that on a restart.
What a flair. What a flair he has for drama, doesn't he? Just pounces at the end of the race and grabs the victory.
Noah Gregson, as the runner-up in this race, will also advance to the championship 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway next week. Maybe not the way Gregson wanted to get there. He wanted to win this race, but they're taking a big sigh of relief in that 18 pit.
Well, Vince, Gregson had Grant Enfinger laying all over him. There was no way they could have momentum exiting the corner. And Brett Moffitt was down off the road, took advantage of that contact, and drove away.
Burnham down, Brett Moffitt, a 5-time winner this season, and he will run for the championship.
Spend all night trying not to spin your tires to win the race so you can spin your tires. Burn those babies off.
What a year it's been for Brett Moffitt and this Shiggy Hattori team.
He'd never made a start in the Truck Series here at ISM. He'd had a couple of Cup Series starts here, but this was his first one in the truck. And he and crew chief Scott Zipadelli, they have gotten it done all season long, and they delivered again tonight.
What a beautiful night of racing.
What a great way to christen this new ISM Raceway. And I call it new because so much has been done to this racetrack, this facility.
And what made the difference? A late restart on the newly reconfigured start-finish line.
The fireworks symbolic of the celebration for Brett Moffitt and really Noah Gragson as well, because Gregson's going to have a chance to run for the championship. But for Brett Moffitt, not only getting the win tonight to secure his position, but what it does for that team from a momentum standpoint as they head to the final race of the season. Grant Enfinger had his shot, but came up a little short tonight, Alan.
Yes, he did. It came down to those final 2 restarts. What more did you need on those final 2 restarts to get the victory?
You know, I just don't know if we had the speed to get it done tonight. We actually had a really good Ford F-150. That's just all we had. Man, a really good friend of mine, Chief, he's in a bad situation right now. I really wanted to bring that win home for him and all these guys that worked so hard all year. It just wasn't meant to be, but just really, I'm proud of this year. We're not running for a championship next week, but it went from lack of effort. You know, these guys have come a long ways, and proud of everything.
Heck of a show tonight.
You know, he did his job on the restart there, Vince. He got a better launch and was in a position to be ahead of Gregson, but when we got down to turn 3, Brett Moffitt just had such a run, and those 2 trucks, the 98 and the 18, started rubbing on each other, and it just opened the door for Moffitt.
Not every truck can be the best truck, and as Enfinger said, it felt like it gave it all they had. They just didn't quite have enough, and I don't know if Moffitt had the best truck of the night. At times, it seemed like he did. He had that nice run. He led 20 laps tonight, but he got it done on the restart when he had to, and it was a great battle with Noah Gragson, Alan.
And down here is just giving a handshake to Grant Enfinger. There was tough racing down the stretch. I know you wanted the win, but you advanced to Homestead. How do you take this night?
Yeah, first of all, this is more about my Safe Flight Autoglass team. Safe Flight Autoglass making it to the Final Four for the first time ever in Kyle Busch Motorsports. My guys, they work so hard. Rudy Fugel, the rest of the team. Can't thank all those guys enough. Safe Flight Autoglass, Switch, Toyota, everybody who's helped me out. Down there in that restart, I spun the tires just a little bit in the restart zone, and then in 1 and 2, just got run up the racetrack. I guess I was top of 3 wide, and we were beating and banging. I don't know. That's what you got to do. I dish it, so I sure as hell got to take it, you know. So I don't know. I respect the 98 for what he did. He's going for the win. I'm going for the win, but most importantly, we're going to be racing for a championship next weekend in Homestead. So just can't thank all the veterans for everything they do for us. Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there, and moving on to next weekend. Let's go do this.
Looking for a title, 18, Noah Gragson.
Indeed. Hey, I want to remind you that coming up as soon as we're done here in Phoenix, NHRA Friday Nitro live from Pomona. It is next. But right now, Brett Moffitt in Gatorade Victory Lane, and Hermie Sadler is there.
Here he is, Victory Lane. Took him a few minutes to find this beautiful new Victory Lane at this racetrack, but he is here. And a happy group. I talked to your crew chief, Scott Zippadelli, on the next to last caution with everything that was going on, I said, what's going to happen here? And he said, we need to win and lock this thing to Homestead, and you pulled it off. It came down to a pass after the last restart. How did you put yourself in position to make that move?
We just had a badass Kobe Toyo Pet Tundra, and I kind of screwed us by getting a speeding penalty there, but more importantly, it's Veterans Day weekend, and I gotta give a shout out to all those who have served and currently serving. Also, very special to us, we have a steering wheel here. It's got Tori Costa Foundation on it, and that's Scott Zippadelli's daughter that passed away from patriotic cancer. And sorry, and it was her birthday yesterday, so I'm glad she was in the car with me, and I know this is going to mean a lot to our race team.
So now you got to refocus. Good shot of the steering wheel there, great calls. Now you've got to refocus you and your team to get ready to go to Homestead and race for a championship. If you had just a moment to think about how close you could be to a championship.
Yeah, we were focused on Homestead already, and we just knew we had to have a smooth night. When the 98 got up there, obviously, we started worrying, and that's when we needed to win. So, you know, you can't say enough for this group. And Toyota, TRD, Joe Gibbs' 299th engine win with Mark Conquest. They've put our backs against the wall, but this son of a bitch won again. So, I can't say enough about them and all of our partners and just this whole HRE team.
It's going to be a GMS versus Toyota battle when we get to Homestead next week, Alan.
Matt Crafton needed the victory tonight, finished 11th. Where do you feel you came up short this weekend?
We had very good speed. I mean, drove through a few of them at the very beginning, and then took 2 tires and drove to second, and ran the leader down and came up pit road to put 4 tires on, and we went to put 4 tires on. Just couldn't get the right front off and lost, I don't know, 7-8 spots, and it buried us. And then none of the lanes would seem to go our way at the end of the night. But all in all, we'll go for a race for a win here at Homestead. This on Ford F-150 wasn't bad, nothing to hang our head on too bad, but it's been one of the worst racing seasons I've had and I can remember. But you know what? I've got one more. Go get a trophy here at Homestead and go vacation.
That'd be the way to end the season, with a smile, guys.
Well, and don't put it past him next week at Homestead, that's for sure. But here will be the 4 drivers competing for the championship. Brett Moffitt, 5 wins this season. Johnny Sauters won 6 times. Justin Haley as hot as anybody over the course of the last couple of months. And Noah Gregson, you know you're not going to count him out, even though he's won just once this season.
It's a little bit too hard to handicap right now. I can't pick a clear favorite.
I can't wait to watch Miami Homes. These guys are going to be so intense. And the racing tonight was magical. What great restarts, what great action. Miami will be the same.
Fitting that we had such drama in the desert tonight, and it did not disappoint. It was a fantastic finish. For Alan Cavana and Hermie Sadler, Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. Thanks for being with us tonight, where Brett Moffitt wheeled it to victory at ISM Raceway. NHRA Friday Nitro Live from Pomona starts now.